Welcome to another episode of Corny Camp Skills. Today, we forget to turn on the mic for the first minute or so. But seriously, today, we learn how to erect a tent. Okay, let's get the parts out here. We'll start with a 3-season tent. We pull out the pegs. And then later on, we'll do the winter tent. Let's start with this thing here. What's this thing called again on the 3-season tent? It's called the
footprint. Okay, so the footprint itself, all right, give me a hand there, Xavier. So the footprint itself is used not to make your floor waterproof, it's used to keep the bottom of your tent from wearing out prematurely, okay? So it'll protect it, it'll make your tent last longer. So this is my summer one, my 3-season tent. So there's a difference between a 3-season, you want to pull out your tent there? Oh, we're gonna have to flip it around and backwards. So I'm just gonna pass you this end. So the difference in a 3-season tent, so as you can think, 3-season would be, what would it be, Xavier?
Summer, spring.
We're just gonna ignore these guys.
Yeah, summer, spring, and fall. The reason for that is it's not winter, because a tent made for the winter has got to be able to snow load. This one's not made for snow loading. Okay, so then we got the poles, and we got the fly. We're going to leave the fly there for now. We don't really need it just yet. Xavier's going to get the poles out. It's a nice crisp day today. Is it winter yet? Are we still fall? Are we winter or are we fall? I think it's winter.
This guy's lost his mind. It's literally winter.
Yes. Okay, get
December, dude.
So you can get poles. Poles come in 2 different materials, more or less. Fiberglass and aluminum. So the aluminum ones, I think they're a bit more durable. They're more expensive, but they're more durable. Okay, so every tent is a bit different how you put it up. So I'm not really showing you the technique of your tent. Yeah, I am a bit. But read your instructions. All tents come with instructions, and they're usually on the inside of the flap or like that, or if you get them in a box, they'll be in the box. So read your instructions when you're putting your tent up. Okay, it'll help you a lot. I see a lot of times when I go camping, people that don't read them. So this particular tent here, we got our aluminum poles, and we're about to put it up. So this tent has clips, and at the bottom of the pole itself, it's got a little nub, a little nipple there, okay? And the nipple goes into the hole on each corner. So we just take the nipple, we stick it in the hole. So Xavier can go on the other side and do his. Do that corner, and then do your corner over there, Xavier. And I'll do this one. So when you're putting up a tent, another thing you want to pay attention to is the wind. It's not a very windy day today, so we're good. But if it was windy, you want to keep your tent as low as possible. You don't want to start picking it up. If you start picking it up, it'll catch in the wind. So here, we have little clips, and we just simply take the clips, and we start clipping everything onto the poles. And this one's color-coded too. So the orange clips go onto the orange poles. Okay. Most tents come with a front door and a back door, so they got 2 doors. And then we got in the middle, we've got our little duplex clip. A bit tricky sometimes. It'll hold both at the same time. Okay, so now we're ready to put up the front pole. So this is a bit of a spreader pole for the. Put your end in first there, Xavier. So the gray goes into the gray. I'll put mine in. There we go. So then the clips, gray on gray. And then there's these kind of C-clips that hold everything in together. They'll hold both poles at the same time. They're a bit tricky sometimes. Okay, so if it was really windy, you could also start pegging in your tent now. when you're by yourself, I find it's a little easier if you peg in the bottom first. Okay. So now we got to put the fly on. Now we got to put it right because there's a front and a back. Now you get a bit on this. Let's have a look. Yeah, it goes like that. Okay. So you want to show them there, Xavier? When you come down to the bottom, these tents here, they have a toggle. You want to show them how to clip the front there, Xavier? Over there in your corner.
Oh.
See that little clip there?
Yep.
Clip goes in, look. And then you go around to the four corners and you do that. Now we're ready to put our pegs in. Where's the bag for the, yeah. So all your bags, so that doesn't happen. All your bags, you should put them back in the tent bag itself so you don't lose anything. And then you put them underneath the front door so you know where they always are. Okay, we're gonna peg this. You peg it down so it doesn't blow away in the wind. And also it needs the pegs in the front to hold the vestibule open. Vestibule. Is that an English word?
No.
What nationality is it?
French.
Vestibule? Yeah, it's true, hey? It's a French one. So we're gonna start with the four corners. Okay, you go do that corner. So when you're doing your corners, the first one you put in, yeah, so now you're gonna see the footprint underneath is made to go with this tent. So the footprint has got a little hole there, and it goes on that nipple. Xavier's gonna put the first peg in, and we're gonna talk about pegs here for a little couple of seconds. Okay, that's good, Zav. So when you're putting your peg in, you don't want to put your peg in straight, right, Xavier?
Yep.
You want to put your peg on what?
At an angle.
At an angle. Forward like that?
Backwards.
Backwards. Okay. And the reasoning for this is if you put it in straight, it's kind of easy to pull out. If you pull it in that way, the length of the pull, it's really easy to pull out. But if you put it on a 45 backwards from your angle of pull, it's hard. It's a lot more solid in the ground. So you pull your floor a bit taut here. You put it on a 45 and you push it all the way in. Okay, let's do the other corners. Here's Xavier. Go do the back corner.
What is the appropriate depth to put a peg in?
Push it all the way in.
All the way?
That's a good one. Hey, Xavier, I'm going to show you. Come over here. I'm going to show you. So I pull that taut a bit. So I'm going to push that in. Now, the thing is, when you're using guy lines and stuff like that, it's not so important down here. But if you leave it stick out like that, it can turn. Like when you're using a guy line, your rope can come up, and this can turn easily, and then it'll pop out. Okay? So if you push it all the way down, the hook, the front of the hook goes into the ground, like it goes into the ground too, and it keeps it from twisting.
Won't that make it hard to take it out?
It's harder to take out, but if it's a windy night, you'll be happy that you did that.
Also, what's a guy line?
This is a guy line.
Ah, these things,
Yeah.
okay.
So, okay, put your corner in there. A lot of tents also, you'll see on the side, this is the important part, is to pull your, okay, Xavier,
Huh?
you got to pull that a bit so that you can get the tent taut.
Ah.
Okay, there you go, that's good. So, the center part here, you want to pull this away from your tent. What the fly does on your tent is it protects it from water coming in, from the rain coming in. Your tent on the inside itself is not the one that stops the rain. It's your fly that stops the rain from coming in. You don't want your fly touching your tent. If the two are touching, the water will transmit through. The water will come off, but yes, some water, after a while, it'll start not to pass through, but it will soak the material. Now, but it'll still come down off the sides. If your fly is touching the tent itself, the water will transmit into the inside of it, and then the inside of your tent will get wet. So even you, if your sleeping bag is touching the sides of it, which are touching all together, the water will come through and get you wet. So stay away from the sides and make sure your fly is not touching the tent. Okay, let's go to the vestibule in the front, Zav. And we're going to talk about putting in the pegs. So, are you wondering why I brought out an axe, a rock, and a knife?
Yeah, I should be concerned about it, shouldn't I?
Okay, so we've got our peg, and we're going to put our peg in. Now let's, don't push it in, I got to do the demo. So let's say the ground is really hard and you can't push it in. Here, you know, we're in a park and that it's really easy to get in. So if we're somewhere where it's really tough, nature will provide you with stuff that you can use. You can use a rock, okay? And you can bang it in with a rock. You can use a piece of log to bang it in. If you're car camping or something, bring a mallet. Always bring a mallet. It'll be easier to get your pegs in. Oh, see, we're hitting rock there. It'll always be easier to get it in. You can also use, if you brought an axe with you, you can use the axe. Should you use the axe on the pointy end?
Absolutely not.
No, you want to use the axe on the hammering end. Now, safety, Xavier. You wear your safety glasses. When you're going to be banging with it, yeah, you use the back side. Don't put your face over it, okay, when you're banging, because you're going to get the axe in your face, and then you're going to have a split face. All right, and the last one I got, if you got a survival knife, a lot of people wonder. So you got the knife. If you look at the back of the knife, that's a hammer. It's a little bit of a hammer. So a lot of knives and that, they're made with a pommel on the back there to be able to bang in tent pegs. But same thing again, don't put your face over it. You stab yourself in the eye. Safety first. And I think that's about it for this tent. Oh, the guy lines. We're talking guy lines. So this tent comes with guy lines around the edges of it. Out here where we're at, the wind's not too bad today, and that we are out in the open, but the wind's not too bad. I probably won't put it up. If you're in a very windy location, use your guy lines, okay? Make sure your guy lines are in line with the tent, with the seams on the tent, and bring them out and use your guy lines. Good?
How does one use the guy lines?
Okay, let's do one. You want to do yours? Can you undo it? Well, you undo that one, I'll undo this one, we'll see who's done first.
I had a head start.
Okay, where's the bag? Did I put the bag inside? We've been done before.
Doug.
Hey, so in your peg bag, make sure you got enough pegs to do every spot that you're going to have, including your guy lines, even if you use them or not. Because at one time you don't need them, you're going to kind of be mad. Okay, so they're nice and long. You done playing with it?
Well, I'm shortening it.
You don't need to shorten it too much.
Okay. Dang it, I made it too long.
Okay, that's okay. So remember what I was talking about? Go with the seam of the tent. So try to stay in line with the tent, go with the seam. Now, these toggles, sometimes they confuse people. The toggle itself, when the rope is all in, it'll look like that, okay? So what you want to do here is you want to use the top, you don't want to use the top loop. That's what holds it in and breaks it. You want to use the bottom loop, okay? So we'll pull the bottom loop out. I'll show you in a second when I get it out.
I feel like it should be much shorter than I pulled it out to be.
Yeah, you can make it much shorter. It doesn't have to be that long. Okay, so you can see it like that, the loop. We're using the bottom loop, and the top loop breaks it. So we put it in line. What kind of angle do we use, Xavier?
45.
How far in do we put it?
Pretty far.
All the way in. And then, once you got it in, you don't have to have tight when you're putting it in. Then once you got it in, you can tighten it. And that will hold your tent down nice and solid. Okay, want me to show you how to roll it up?
Okay.
Okay, so to roll it up, of course, it's always easier. The shorter it is, the easier it's going to be. So we're going to make our toggle the shortest possible. That's the shortest length possible. This is how I do it, okay? It doesn't mean this is how you have to do it. Doesn't mean this is the only way to do it, but this is the way I do it. So I put my hand up close to the front. Take both gloves off here. Up to the front, I wrap the rope around my hand. When I come to the bottom, I got like 30 centimeters, a foot left. Pull my hand out. I wrap it around the whole bundle, nice and tight, to hold it in. And then when I come up to the last part here, the end of it, I'm just going to pass it underneath the loop. And that's how I'm going to store it. Okay, let's do the other tent, the winter tent.
Dad. Yeah. Nice sack.
Okay. So, the winter tent. The winter tent is a bit different. So we put things away same way. So this tent is the first tent I ever bought. You know when I bought this tent?
19 something.
1992. So in those days it didn't come with a footprint, so I made my own. You can make your own. If your tent doesn't come with a footprint, you can make your own. Okay, and there's a video snippet about that. You can see that. We'll put that in there. All right, so let's take our footprint there, Xavier. You spread that out and grab the bottom. Okay. Put it down.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's paint. I used to paint on that.
Oh, those are the shiny bits.
Yeah, it's okay. So the next part that we pull out of our tent is going to be the tent itself. So this tent, the other one that we were putting up had clips. This one has sleeves. So what it is the structure is more solid and it will hold up to a snow load. If you use a 3-season tent in the winter, there's that, and it snows on you, you're running a big chance of the tent collapsing on you. Okay, so you'll wake up in the middle of the night and your tent will be touching your face. That's no fun. Okay, so use the proper tent. Also, ventilation. So we got the same type of poles in here. We have aluminum poles, and we have 4 poles. Okay. So there's a difference in ventilation between a summer tent and a winter tent. The summer tent will have a bit more ventilation and it'll breathe better. Like you saw in our summer tent there, our 3-season tent, that it had a lot of, did you notice it had a lot more screen in it, more mesh?
Mesh?
Like screen, like bug netting.
Yeah.
It had a lot of bug netting in it, and this one has a lot less. So this one has less ventilation, meaning it's a warmer tent. So you can use, there's nothing stopping you from using a winter tent in the summer, but what's going to be the difference there, Zav, do you know?
Worse ventilation.
Yeah, so one's going to be warmer than the other. Which one do you think will be warmer?
This one.
Yeah, this one will be a lot warmer than the winter. So in the summertime, if you're using this one, you want to leave the doors open a bit so you get a bit more ventilation coming through. Because if you don't, what happens is when we breathe, a lot of moisture comes out in our breath. And when you're going to be sleeping in your tent and you have it all zipped up, you'll wake up in the morning and the sides will be a bit wet on the inside of your tent. And that's from the moisture from you breathing.
Oh, well, but...
So if you leave the zippers open a bit, there'll be a bit more ventilation coming through and there'll be less condensation on the inside of your tent.
Yeah, but wouldn't you risk like bugs getting inside?
Well, you leave the fly. There's a difference between the mosquito net and the door. You can have the door open and still have the mosquito net closed.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this tent here, if you read the instructions, you have 2 long poles and 2 short poles. The 2 long poles go crisscross like a Sioux, and then the 2 short poles go across the front part, okay, through the sleeves. If you could do this by yourself, but if you're 2 people doing it, it's a lot easier. Okay, it doesn't make it as demanding. Now here's a little camp skill trick that you can do. If you're in the woods and that, and you don't have a lot of room, so you're pushing your pole out, it has to go far out to push it through. So if you got less room, you can collapse your pole a bit, and then as you're pushing it through the tent, you put it together as it's coming through. Okay, the poles too, they have shock cords in them. You know what a shock cord is, Xavier?
No.
Shock cord, a bungee cord, like elastic. Oh. So the poles, they have elastics going through them, so it makes it so it's easier for them to be put together. As your tent gets older, like these ones are due to get changed right now, they are not as elasticy. Elasticy? No, that's the hole that you got to put a long one through. Here, put the long one through. Okay. Yeah, that's the right hole there. Here's another one, important factor. Don't walk on your tent. Like you notice, I'm kneeling down. does two things. If it's windy, it'll hold my tent down, and secondly, it doesn't press in the dirt into it. If you walk on it and your boots are muddy and you got hiking boots on, you're gonna damage your tent. You're gonna get it dirty, and that ain't no fun. Nobody wants a dirty tent, right, Xavier?
No.
Nobody likes a dirty tent. Okay, push that through, keep pushing it. So you want it so it's about equal, halfway through. Good job. Okay, do the long one there. You start that long one, I'll start this long one, and we're probably gonna have to help each other. This is where it's a bit slower putting up these tents, but these tents are much more solid in the winter time, and they're a bit warmer too. Having trouble? There you go.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So there's no, when you're going to be erecting it, putting it up, there's no set order of how to do it, like this pole goes first, that pole goes next. No, you just do it as you can, okay? So we'll do the cross ones first. Now this is where I want to show you guys. This is an important part here. Let's push this back down, Xavier. I'm just going to push it back so I can show. So these tents here, and most tents you buy, like your Canadian Tire tent, stuff like that, they're going to have a ring with a pin on it, right? This summer, the problem, we were talking earlier about those kids there that set up that tent and it wasn't put up properly, because a lot of people make this mistake, and it's a bigger mistake, beginner's mistake, and it's not a huge problem, but your tent won't go up very well, and you know, we're here to learn. So a lot of people, they'll just put the pole through the ring. So the problem with that is you're not getting any tension on it. The proper way to do this is to take the pin and put the pin into the bottom of the pole. Okay, can you do that on your side? So when we're going to do this, you'll see we're going to put this under tension. So we got to feed the pole. Okay, push it up through. And this is where it gets all hectic. And come on, pull it down. What you got to do there, Xavier, is you got to pull your side down. Pull. There you go. You got it. It gets all weird at this point.
I'm always scared of breaking something.
No, you're okay. If you're having trouble, let me know and I'll come over and I'll help you.
I don't think I have enough pole.
Yeah. You want some help?
Hey,
you almost got it. Okay, put the pin in the hole.
Got it.
There you go. When you're starting off, it's a bit more difficult.
That took way too long.
So let's do that. Grab that one over there, Xavier. You put your side in first. And it'll start looking like a tent now once you put up the second one. So you push the pole through the bottom. Keep the tent low so it doesn't grab in the wind. Put the tent down, Xavier, it'll grab in the wind. Okay. Put the pin in the hole. So now let's do the two cross ones. Can you do your side, Xavier?
Yes.
On your own? Oh, look at that, the pole came apart. So that means my bungees need to be changed. Okay. Put the pin in the bottom of the pole. Same thing on this side. I'm having troubles. Okay. So we're gonna pin the tent down now. You do your corner. Do your first corner there, Xavier. We're gonna pin it down now. So this would be a good time to pin down your tent. That's okay there, Xavier. The fly doesn't have to be pulled out. When you put yours in, put it in.
The ring?
Yeah, put it through the ring. Push it in, all the way in. There you go. So I'm gonna pull that straight. I pull it tight. I put my peg through that pin, and I push it all the way in. Oh, I hit a rock. Where's my hammer? So if you hit a little rock, it's not a big thing. Sometimes you can just pound through it and it'll go through. Okay, let's do the other two sides there, Xavier. Here, you do your side. I'll do my side. So pull it, Xavier, before you put the peg in. Xavier, before you put the peg in, pull it out with your hand. There you go. Put the peg in on an angle. All the way in. I'll do the same thing on the other side. all the way in. So now it's down. The floor that's underneath it, here, we'll talk about this real quickly. So if you're going to make yourself a footprint for your tent, the idea here is to make the footprint smaller than the tent itself. You don't want the footprint bigger than the tent, because what can happen is the rain will come, fall down, and go in between your tent and the footprint. So you want the footprint to be inside the tent, underneath it, underneath the drip line where the rain comes down. That's what the job is to protect the floor. Put the fly on, Xavier.
So the bigger the tarp is, the more likely it is to get wet.
So yeah, if you're gonna make yourself a footprint like I did for this one, you want to make it slightly smaller than the tent,
so that it won't accumulate water and then turn out to make the tent wet.
Exactly. Oh, whoa, hang on, there's a hook here. So there you go. Okay, so this model here, it's got, at the bottom, it's got a bungee cord at the bottom of the fly, and at the bottom of that, there's a hook. So that hook there hooks into our ring. Simply like that. You go around, and you hook up the four corners. Now come around to the front there, Xavier. So this is an older tent, and the vestibules in those days were a bit smaller. So you want to undo the guy line on that side? So it doesn't really have a vestibule, this tent. It's got more of a entrance, we can call it, than a vestibule. So we pull it out, put our peg in on a 45, give a peg to Xavier. Here you go, Xavier.
Thanks.
Here's a little tip. Should you be, like, you know, I'm passing you a peg, should I throw it over to you? Or give it to you?
I thought you were cool, Dad. I thought you would throw it.
No, you give it. You know why you give it and not throw it? That's how you lose stuff at night in the woods. Hey, so put it straight out. Come straight out from the tent. Push your toggle up. Remember your, yeah, there you go. Pull it straight out. Make sure you're straight out from, there you go, that's straight out. Good. Put your peg on an angle. So, you remember we were talking about pushing it all the way in when I was saying about, so let's say it's out a bit, and if it gets windy and it starts pulling on it, you see how it can easily turn?
Yeah.
And then it can easily pop out. So that's why, let's grab that back there. If it's in like so, let's make it a bit taller. If it's in like so and we push it in, it won't turn. It'll be more solid. Now you know. So that is the last thing I want to say is your parts, your leftover, whoa, we didn't do the sides. Here, just pull out, there should be a little bungee on the side there. Oh, it's not, it's a guy. Let's just do one side there, Xavier. I'll just do my side to demonstrate it. And we pull out the bottom loop. Cold, Xavier?
Yes, it's quite cold.
So again, we were talking about earlier, this is going to pull our fly away from the tent itself, keep us nice and dry. Now as your tent gets older, you have to take care of it. That's the reason why this tent is still good after how many years? 92, 2020?
Quick math, I wasn't prepared for this.
28 years. So it's a 20-year-old tent and it's still in good shape, and I've used this a lot. So every once in a while I've got to treat it. The seams on the inside, you use a seam sealer on the inside of the seams to protect it when it starts to leak. And you can also have, there's another materials that you can buy in camping stores and that you spray on, and it'll protect it. And the same thing with your floors. You can use materials to protect them and all that, and it'll make your tent last longer. Just a bit of maintenance. Every once in a while you'll have to change out your guy lines and stuff, and it'll work out. Xavier, I saw something over here that you made a little mistake on. Okay, come on over. So this is a learning. Remember what I was saying about the toggles?
Yeah.
You use the bottom loop, so you use the top loop, and just see, it doesn't hold very well. It comes loose, okay? So when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you use that bottom loop. So that is a lot stronger than using the top loop. Now you know.
Dang it.
Knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe. Okay, when you're done with everything, you put everything back in the main bag. You put the pegs that aren't used in the peg bag, and you take all the other bags, you take them all together, and you put them inside that bag, and then put that inside the tent. And then you close your tent back up, because nobody likes to have bugs in their tent. Right, Xavier?
Absolutely, yes.
Right there.
You don't want to have any creepy crawlies in there.
Good job.
Thank you.
So, let's show them how to put away a tent. Let's do it with the easy tent.
Okay.
Let's take the tent down, Xavier. So let's go around. First thing, let's pull the pegs off of the fly. Not the bottom ones. Leave those in, so the tent won't fly around on us. So take out the pegs on the bottom that hold the fly. Right there. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Thank you. So we're going to take the fly off, and then once we take the fly off, what do we do with it?
I don't know.
So we're going to put it in the bag right away. Go undo the buckles there on the other side. Take the fly off, and we put the fly in first. The fly is the last thing we need, so it's the first thing that goes in the bag. Do you know why I don't fold the tent or fold the fly before I put it away?
Because it's easy.
Yes, it's easy. It is. That's really right. But the other reason behind it is, if I have a piece of paper and I'm always folding it in the same place, I'm always folding it like it's like a book and I'm always folding it, where is it going to start to wear?
The places where you fold it.
The place where I fold it. Same thing for a tent. If you're always folding it the same place and rolling it the same way, you're going to wear out your tent where you fold it. So that's why, and it's a lot easier. So we just shove the tent in the bag. All right, next part, let's take off the we'll leave the pegs in, because leaving the pegs in, if it was windy, it would hold the tent in place. So let's take it apart the way we put it up. So we take out the gray pole, and you can start undoing those. The clips are a lot easier to undo. You just, with your thumb, you just go with your thumb and poop, 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 they pop out. And you take it out. Want me to show you a trick there, Xavier, on taking these apart?
How?
So, you go, instead of just going to one end and going across like that, you go to the middle. Yeah, break it in half, then you can do two at a time. Takes you less time to take the poles down. And when you're going to put your poles in the pole bag, it's easier if you have multiple poles and all that. It's easier to do it in one shot, hold them all together, and then put it in the bag in one shot. If you put them in one at a time, you might have some trouble doing it. Okay, now we can take out the pegs. So when you're taking out pegs, Xavier, if they're hard to take out, a lot of people, what they're going to do is they try to pull straight up, but pulling straight up doesn't work very well. You got to pull on them the way you put them in. So you got to pull out on a 45. And here's another little trick. If they're in tight, you could use the hook on there. You bring it in and you can use that to help pull you out. If that's not working, you can put in a peg sideways there and grab on each side of the peg and pull it out. Yeah. Don't pull on the tent itself. No, you'll damage the tent. Okay, put those in the peg bag. And we're going to put our tent away. Oh, you know what we're going to do first though? We're going to put the poles in here. Because if we don't put the poles in now, once we get everything in there, we won't be able to get it in. Okay. So I'm shoving the tent next. Do I fold it? Xavier?
No, no fold.
No folding. Why? Because it's easier. No.
Also better in general.
Yes, it's better in general. Then the last, well, not the last part to go in. The second last to go in is going to be our footprint.
Pegs.
And the last thing I like to put in is my pegs. And then do up the drawstring. And Bob's your uncle. Let's say your tent is dirty on the inside there, Xavier. Your tent got dirty on the inside and you want to clean it before you put it away. It's always hard. If you open up your tent, you'll notice that there's a lip. There's a lip here. So if there's dirt in there, it's hard to get it out and sweep it out. It's always getting stuck on the side here. You're never getting it all out. Want to see the easiest way to clean your tent?
Vacuum.
That would be easy. Pick it up. Shake it.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
A lot easier. Should you try that on a windy day?
No.
No, I wouldn't try that on a windy day either. Good job.